Hey everyone, thank you for watching my channel. My name is Amanda, and today I made baked Tuscan chicken casserole, roasted baby potatoes, and French style green beans for dinner. Let's get started. I'm going to start by making the baked Tuscan chicken casserole first. I'm feeding a family of 5 and I am using 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts. And you're also going to need minced garlic, Parmesan cheese, Italian seasoning, paprika, onion powder, heavy whipping cream, spinach, mozzarella cheese, cream cheese, and sun-dried tomatoes. This will be my first time making this, so I can't wait to see how it's going to turn out. I am using a 9x13 casserole dish, and I'm going to start by spraying it down with some Pam spray. I like doing this because then that way it makes it easier for cleanup. Now you're going to go ahead and butterfly your chicken. That way you have a total of 4 chicken breasts. And then you're going to just go ahead and place it into the casserole dish. Now you're going to take the chicken and arrange it as best as possible so that way the chicken is not laying on top of each other and it is one single layer. Now season with salt and pepper. I'm only going to add a little bit of black pepper because my kids don't like a lot of pepper, but season it to your taste. Now we're going to take 1 teaspoon of minced garlic and we're going to go ahead and evenly distribute it on top of all the chicken. Now, if you were using fresh cloves of garlic, you're going to want to do 2 cloves of garlic right here and mince them up nicely and then just distribute it on top of the chicken. Now we're going to set our chicken to the side and we're going to grab a mixing bowl, 4 ounces of cream cheese softened to room temperature. Now add 3/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. Now take an electric mixer and we're going to go ahead and mix these 2 ingredients together. You're going to want to mix them until they are nicely blended in. You want to try to get to a smooth consistency, but it is okay if you do have a little bit of a chunks here and there because as you add the other ingredients in, you're going to mix it again. So it will help work itself out. One teaspoon of minced garlic, and if you were using fresh cloves of garlic, you would use 2 and mince them up nicely. Add half a teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. Add more salt for taste. Now we're going to use the electric mixer again and we are going to mix these nicely into the cream cheese mixture with the heavy whipping cream, and you just want to make sure that it nicely blends in nicely together. Now we're going to add a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese to the bowl. You can use fresh Parmesan cheese and grate it yourself if you would like to. You are going to need 3/4 cup of mozzarella cheese. We're going to take half of that and we're going to put it into our mixing bowl. The other half we're going to save for later on in this recipe. So just set that bowl aside. Now take the electric mixer and we're going to mix all those ingredients nicely together. Now that our cream cheese mixture is done, we're going to go ahead and take it and place it on top of the chicken, and we're going to spread it so it's coating it nicely on top of the chicken. The cream cheese mixture smells so tasty and it is thick, so you're definitely going to want to spread it on nicely on top of the chicken. Once you get the cream cheese mixture completely spread over top on the chicken, you're going to want to take 1 tablespoon of the sun-dried tomato oil and you're going to drizzle it over top of the cream cheese mixture. The recipe actually calls for 8 ounces of chopped sun-dried tomatoes. I am actually taking a half a cup of sun-dried tomatoes, and I'm not even chopping mine up. I am just placing them on top of the cream cheese mixture. This looks so amazing and beautiful, and I cannot wait to put it in the oven and smell it all throughout the house once it's baking in the oven. Now we're going to take aluminum foil and loosely cover the casserole dish. We're going to go ahead and put it in our preheated oven of 400 degrees, and we're going to bake it for 20 minutes until the chicken reaches closely to an internal temperature of 165, because we will be adding more stuff to it and back in the oven again for another 10 minutes. While the baked Tuscan chicken is cooking in the oven, we're going to go ahead and start on the roasted baby potatoes. And we're actually going to be using 2 of these size 24-ounce bags of petite potatoes. We're going to need garlic powder, olive oil, Italian seasoning, and we're also going to need some salt and pepper. We're going to go ahead and line a baking sheet with parchment paper. Wash up your potatoes and cut them all in half. And I am using 2 24-ounce bags. One is the Sunburst and the other one is the Pure Gold potatoes, and they are both little petite potatoes. I originally was just going to only do the Sunburst petite potatoes, but then I decided I was going to go ahead and do both bags. And if I have leftovers, which more than likely I will, I would just use them for a breakfast dish or freeze them or use it in another meal. Now we're going to put all our potatoes on our baking sheet. Now take 1/4 of a cup of olive oil and pour it all over the potatoes. Sprinkle 1 teaspoon of garlic powder all over the potatoes. 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning and sprinkle it all over the potatoes. Add salt and pepper for seasoning to your liking of how much you actually want on your potatoes. So this is your personal preference of how much you want of each. I don't do a lot of pepper on mine because I have small children and they don't really like a lot of things with a lot of pepper on it. So I just do a little bit in moderation. Now we are going to go ahead and toss the potatoes in the nice olive oil mixture with the garlic powder, the Italian seasoning, and the salt and pepper, and just make sure that they are nicely coated in all of that. You want to make sure that the potatoes are nicely coated in the olive oil and the herbs. That way it really helps cooks it and makes it taste tasty and wonderful. Now that the potatoes are prepped and ready, we're just going to set these aside because the chicken is still baking in the oven. It has now been 20 minutes and it's time to take our chicken out and check on it. We're going to check the internal temperature of the chicken to see if it's close to 165, because we will be putting it back in the oven for another 10 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and check on it. And we are roughly around like 151, and it is kind of slowly still going up. I'm happy where it is at right now. And now we're going to go ahead and take about 3/4 cups of chopped spinach, and I'm just going to tear mine up. So that way it's just easier. I'm removing the stems at the end so there's not like a long tip of it, and then just breaking it up in my hands and then just sprinkling it over top. Now we're going to try to stir in the spinach into the sauce around the chicken, so that way the spinach is coated into the sauce. Once we get all that done, we're going to add the remainder of the mozzarella cheese on top. Now we're going to go ahead and Take the casserole dish and put it back in the oven, and we're going to leave it uncovered. We're going to bake it for an additional 10 minutes until the mozzarella cheese is melted, the spinach is wilted down, and the internal temperature of the chicken has reached 165. Our 10-minute timer went off and our chicken is done. We're going to go ahead and check the internal temperature of the chicken. Everything else looks perfect. The cheese is nicely melted. The spinach is wilted down. And look at all those bubbles around it. Everything is perfect. I love it. It smells amazing in my house right now. And I can't wait to eat this dish. The temperatures are reading at 165. We are perfect. We are good to go. So let's go ahead and get the oven preheated now to 450 degrees so we can go ahead and put our potatoes in the oven. Look how beautiful and tasty that looks. It is so tasty, let me tell you. And I loved how I made sure that the first round that the chicken was around like 151 and then put the rest of the cheese on and all that and put it back in the oven for 10 minutes because I didn't really want to overcook the chicken. I want the chicken to be nice and moist. But let me tell you, it was so delicious. Now we're going to go ahead and put the potatoes in the preheated oven of 450 degrees for 20 minutes. We have already used all of our green beans up from the freezer, so we are going to use French style green beans, and we're just going to go ahead and dump this into the bowl, and I will add butter to it, and we will heat it up before dinner. But I just want to get stuff prepped and ready because that way it makes it easier for me in the kitchen later on at nighttime. My timer just went off for the potatoes and it's been 20 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and check out the potatoes and see how the fork pierces it. We want it to go in nicely because you want a potato to be really soft when you have it. And these are perfect and they smell so great. My youngest right now is tugging on my legs to have some. So we're going to let these cool down and then we're going to try some out. But they smell amazing. And whatever I don't use for dinner tonight, I'll probably make like an egg dish and then have potatoes as a side with it. And that'd be perfect for breakfast. My family's going to be so excited. Look how everything looks. It looks so tasty and just delicious. And I love trying out new recipes. And they love when I try out new recipes too. So they're going to be really happy with this one. The potatoes have cooled down just a little. I'm going to go ahead and transfer them into a bowl so that way I can let them cool down even more. And then that way I can wrap everything up and get it into the fridge and makes it easier for tonight for dinner. Also take all the olive oil that's on top of the parchment paper and drizzle it on top of the potatoes because you don't want to waste any of that. It's got a lot of good flavors right in there. So we're going to do that. And then let me tell you, this was a really easy meal to make. And I love having easy meals in the kitchen to make for my family that taste amazing. I have 3 kids. I have a lot going on and I just want some meals that just are so tasty and everyone loves, but is easy to put together. Everything has cooled down, the potatoes and the chicken. So I'm going to go ahead and cut some up and try it out because I cannot wait to taste it. It looks amazing. The chicken is so tender. It cut very nicely. I'm very happy with this dish. I definitely will be making this again. My family absolutely loved it. And let me tell you, it tasted so good. You're definitely going to want to try making this recipe. It is easy, especially if you like sun-dried tomatoes and spinach and cream kind of dishes. This is perfect. So good. Everyone enjoyed it when we sat down and had it for dinner. They loved it. Everyone was really happy about it. It was definitely full of flavor. I hope you guys enjoyed what I made. Please subscribe, and I hope you guys have a great day. Take care. Bye.